Meanwhile, MPs will vote later on the government's cuts to the UK's foreign aid budget. They will choose between increasing overseas aid spending to party criticism over the reduction, which amounts to savings of almost £4 billion.
The high street's making a comeback. Good news, with retail sales hitting their best 3 months on record, boosted.
Almond milk and avocados are disastrous for the environment, and vegans who buy them instead of British meat and dairy should consider their impact on the environment, essentially, and the damage that it's doing, according to Adam Henson. He's a farmer and former Country Life presenter. One almond nut produced in California requires, wait for it, I spoke to Priti Patel about taking the knee, and that's where this term gesture politics came from that interview, which, of course, Tyrone Mings has been responding to. Here's what the Home Secretary had to say to me.
Just don't support
Advance to help counteract the disruption they've faced as a result of the pandemic. The Department for Education and regulator Ofqual said Luke Trill is with us this morning. Good morning to you, Luke. It's because Luke's not my son. Oscar, my son, is coming up to GCSE. So I was wondering, well, that's 2 years.
Yeah,
but
well, hopefully we'll be
if
back
this
to
starts
normal
next year, we don't know, do we?
Yeah. So the man who introduced GCSEs is now arguing that they should be scrapped. So
that's right. Yes,
I do really feel though for kids in school, particularly exam kids and university students, because
very difficult.
There will be this sense that they have missed out on much, and I don't know how much that might have an impact actually on their employment possibilities and futures going forward.
Completely.
As I say, get in touch though. GB News,
Yes.
gbviews@gbnews.uk is the email address, particularly if you're a parent this morning and that is affecting your kid. OK, we're going to pause next on the Great British Breakfast, but we have got the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham. He's going to be joining us live on the programme. Don't miss that. The break there, because the spa town in North Yorkshire is home to England manager Gareth Southgate, but it's far from the only claim to fame. You're saying it's very nice.
Oh, I love Harrogate.
I've never been, actually, so I feel like I should.
We were just saying he should go for a staycation there.
Yeah.
He should have gone up this week with
with
farming.
Rosie. I could have done, yeah. Well, every July it also hosts the biggest three-day agricultural show in the UK. It's called the Great Yorkshire Show. Cancelled, of course, because of COVID last year. But this year it is back with a bang, and not least of all because our Rosie Wright has decided to pay them a visit. Good morning to you, Rosie. Incredible, isn't it, that we're back on the road. Wear face coverings on the services from Monday when COVID restrictions are relaxed in England. That was in response to the increase in spending during the pandemic, but the government has faced a backbench rebellion that they may well have lost, and indeed criticism from across different parties over that reduction, including the Labour Party. That amounted to nearly £4 billion worth of savings.
The high street's making a comeback, with retail sales hitting the best 3 months on record, boosted by June's sunny weather and the Euros as well. Well, sales from April to June were up 28.4%.
Oh, we were listening there on the screen.
I know. Got TV on in the background.
Coming up next on the Great British Breakfast, Andy Burnham is going to be here to talk to us from Manchester. But first, let's have a look at the weather across the country. Responsibility, others suggesting, including the Labour opposition, that this is reckless. Delighted to say that Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, thank you very much indeed for your time. It's coming up to 8 a.m. and you're watching the Great British Breakfast.
Andy.
There, good morning. Tuesday, 13th of July. These are the stories that matter to you and to us on the Great British Breakfast.
Will life ever go back to normal? Prime Minister Boris Johnson has confirmed that most restrictions in England will be lifted on the 19th of July. But he wants you to remain cautious. And, of course, those questions remain over face masks. Will you carry on wearing them on public transport, maybe inside shops as well? We want your views on that this morning.
The Home Secretary's been accused of stoking the fire when she told GB News that taking the knee was gesture politics. Footballer Tyrone Mings has hit back at Priti Patel on Twitter. The Home Secretary said she was disgusted at the racial abuse levelled at black England players.
Meanwhile, a comedian's stand-up shows have been cancelled after he tweeted unpleasant, frankly unfunny statements about England players who missed their penalties. Has Cancer Culture actually got it right this time?
And in great British news, the Great Yorkshire Show is back on this year, and it's bigger and better than ever. Our own Rosie Wright is there live for us all morning.
First, we are just 6 days away from Freedom Day in England. But it's looking increasingly likely that life, certainly on Monday, will not go back to kind of pre-pandemic times. Prime Minister Boris Johnson confirmed that we will be able to ditch face masks from next week, and all remaining legal coronavirus restrictions will be lifted. But, this is the crucial bit, but the government says that bus and train companies should decide whether they want to make face coverings continue to be compulsory. This comes after the Prime Minister warned that the pandemic is not yet over. Let's have a listen. It is absolutely about it enough. We had a guest on yesterday who like Nigel, had been to a lot of sporting events, and he said it was the most dangerous situation that he has ever felt in his entire life. And
as Nigel said quite rightly, I mean, it's the danger of, do we want a repeat of Hillsborough? Do we want to see such tragedies? Or, you know, we know there was thieving going on. The Formula One driver, Lando Norris, he had a watch stolen in a fracas with somebody. No, it's not great, is it? No. I mean, it was out of control, and we saw those pictures. But Nigel, good to have him on there. Right, here's what else is going on today. Nicola Sturgeon will today confirm whether Scotland's COVID-19 restrictions can be eased as planned in the coming weeks. The Scottish Parliament will be recalled. We'll
vote later on the government's plans to cut the UK's foreign aid budget of national income to 0.5% in response to increased spending during the pandemic. But the government has faced a backbench rebellion and criticism from across the political divide over the reduction, which amounts to almost £4 billion in savings.
The high street's making a comeback, with retail sales hitting their best 3 months on record. That's boosted.
Avocados, definitely dairy in my tea. I just think, though, at the same time, does that matter in your mind, 12 litres of milk for one nut?
It's a lot. It's a lot. No, I mean, that's not good. I think he's right to warn us of this. I think it's a concern. So it's just a bit... It's a bit shocking, 12 litres for one nut. But what a waste, you know. So, yeah, we've got to be realistic about this. It's not good news.
Buying local, essentially, buying local.
Yes. Right, coming up, the best of British farming, talking of which. The Great Yorkshire Show is back. It's bigger and better than ever, which is fantastic news. We'll cross live to Rosie Wright there in Harrogate next. But first, the weather.
Now, Professor John Edmonds is an epidemiologist at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and is with us this morning to talk about, of course, I'm very messy with my tea.
Yeah, and he's made himself a tea.
I'm being told off.
Where's my tea? That's more to the point.
We didn't have time.
No, OK, perfect. Won't make you one either. Anyway, welcome back. It was cancelled last year because of COVID, but today the UK's biggest 3-day agricultural show is back. You just enjoy that. You can get up close to sheep, combine harvesters, all things farming and country related. It is the Great Yorkshire Show. Rosie Wright is there. She's right in the mix there. She's been there for hours already. Oh, you've got your wellies on as well. That was very good.
No sheer milk you put on your tea or indeed on your cereal. It's a good dairy milk. This is oat milk. We haven't actually got almond milk here in the studio, but we're talking about almond milk because did you know that one almond nut, just one nut produced in California, requires 12 litres of water? And some farmers in the US are apparently ripping out almond trees because of droughts there. The farmer, Adam Henderson, who's also a Country 5 presenter, says that almond milk is disastrous for the environment and vegans who buy them instead of British meat and dairy should consider the impact on the diet, essentially saying that we've been focusing an awful lot on things like cattle meats and the production of beef and how that contributes to CO2 emissions, but that actually sometimes the alternatives to these things can cause as much environmental damage. He also brought up the issue of avocado, because that also is essentially very water intensive. In fact, communities in Chile have been accused, growers, of illegally diverting rivers and leaving them without water because of the demand for this. So many people saying, you know what, we should stick to a good old pint of British milk. Let us know what you think about that.
Yeah, because will it discourage you? I mean, it's, quite unbelievable, isn't it? 12 litres for one nut.
No. OK, let's go back to our top story this morning, though, of course, about Freedom Day and the government's announcement yesterday. We can speak to Stephen Buckley. He's Chief Secretary to the Treasury, joined us live from Westminster. Very good morning to you, Stephen. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. It does seem that the government's got itself yet again in a bit of a mess, really, about the messaging around this. We heard from the Prime Minister saying that this was all going to be irreversible.